welcome to Diamond Effect Podcast, episode 200. We're celebrating 200 weeks of Diamond Effect Podcast. And for this special episode, I have even more special guests, JF Perotin, who is also my husband. But JF, you're so much more than my husband. So please introduce yourself to everybody.
Yes. Okay. I am your husband, very proud husband. But I'm also, I'm an artist. I'm a musician, singer, songwriter, and a performer. I play the guitar and I sing, and as much as possible.
Great. Yes. And we love it. So everybody, we're going to talk a little bit about everything today. We will talk about running a creative musical business because, Jeff, that's what you do, especially as a side hustle, even though it's a main thing, right? That's a main identity, the performer and the artist. But we'll also talk about relationship because I do think our relationship is special and we don't talk about it that much. So it's time we talk about it. In parenting, we have 4 kids. So, hey, there's our big part of our relationship is parenting. So we'll talk about that too. You ready?
That's great. Yeah. Lots to talk about.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so let's start with your performing and artist business and passion. And just like I remember when you started, we're both immigrants. So it's not like when we started our ventures, we had a lot of network or even like friends from high school who would be like, yeah, I'm going to come out and listen to you. I'm going to come out to your first performance. We didn't have that. Tell everybody a little bit of a history of how you grew from I have nobody, I don't know anybody, but I do want to perform to where you are.
One of the first things I did, I was writing songs and started with a YouTube channel, just thinking, okay, I'll go public with some of the stuff that I do. And then I found other musicians through open mics. And then I had an ad to find musicians on Kijiji here. And I found Mark, a guitar player. We decided to start something like a duo and perform together. So that kind of got me within, I would say, within 3-4 years from picking the guitar up again after the kids were out of the very baby stage. It allowed me to get back in the game a bit. And then it evolved from the dynamic that we have as the family. And it really started as, okay, how much time can we allow for this to happen? So it was usually one night a week for a practice. And then after practicing for a while, we can do 1 gig a month.
So tell everybody where you're at now, right? Because you don't do duo with Mark anymore. You're predominantly solo now. You have another duo, but that's a little bit, right? But let's just say how it evolved from that 1 gig a month to this, right? The kids grew and became independent.
So first and foremost, it goes with experience and the fact that you get your foot in the door, you perform somewhere, and then it allows you to say, hey, I performed there. Can I perform here now? And you knock on doors and try to sell your acts, really. And then lots of doors, actually to this day, even venues that have been trying to get in back in 2017 are still not wanting me. But it's also the fact that you got to accept that you're not a fit everywhere and find the right venues for you. So there's a lot of knocking on doors, sending emails, phone calls, mostly emails, though I don't usually call venues. But then also I'm on a platform where I'm able to book mostly private events, private gigs. That really helped a lot, but it's really 2 different streams. There's the bar, restaurant, pub type of stream, and there's the private events, corporate events, backyard parties type of stream through that platform. And both snowballed. Yeah.
They did, and I've seen that myself over the years. How many years has it been? I don't even remember.
5-6 years.
Yeah, maybe. So like over the years, starting from no gigs to now 2-3 gigs a weekend, most of the weekends, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there was, I would say there's definitely average one a weekend. Average throughout the year, it's 1 a week.
So What I wanted to ask you specifically, because you mentioned that you're pretty good at reaching out to the venues, right? The private, as you say, the private gigs happen mostly through gig sellers and then recommendations and people just coming back to you, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of the venues and bars and restaurants, you reach out to them. So
Yes.
talk about, I want to get into your mind and your mindset. What is you thinking when you're doing it? Because I've seen you, right? There's definitely a lot of follow-ups and there's a lot of
Yes.
persistence. You gotta be
Persistence. Yeah.
persistent to do that because we talked about it not so long ago. Even one of the venues here locally took you quite a while to get in, and now
Yeah.
they want you on a regular basis. But it
Yeah.
wasn't an instant success with them. So talk
No.
about that. What are your thoughts? What allows you to keep going?
Yeah. So first of all, is figuring out where potentially you can fit. You would be a good act for that specific venue. Like in the area, most like breweries, pubs, and bars they have that have live music. I'm doing covers, right? So for most venues, I'm okay. But then it's like you need to filter a bit from feedback from other musicians, really.
Yeah.
That's one thing. You also get inspiration from other musicians. Hey, this person's performing there might be a good spot for me. Venues open on a regular basis. They also close, unfortunately, on a regular basis. So there's a turnaround too. You need to adapt. But the mindset really is when I send an email to a venue, first of all, you gotta talk to the right person, end up with the right person. But it's also the fact that it's not their business. They're not in the business of booking acts. So it's you got to understand that if you're not hitting them at the right moment, if they're not in front of the computer or however they book, because some are still like manual calendar on that type of board in the staff room type of thing. You got to understand that there's going to be follow-ups. You got to be intentional about where you want to perform and keep track of when you send the email. Try to follow up on a regular basis, but persistence is what you say. It's patience, and once you get your foot in the door, it's never a one battle in terms of you may have won their hearts, but you
Yeah.
still haven't won them in terms of making sure that they're going to respond timely to your email and that you won't have to follow up again. It's just the name of the game, really.
No, there you go. So that's what I love. It's the name of the game, right? If you want to perform, you want to book those clients, you just need to be prepared to go out there,
Yeah.
follow up, and not
Yeah.
take it personally because they're busy, right? They're
Yeah.
running restaurants, they're
I just said, let's go out there. I had to physically go too. Right?
So then I want to ask, because you're very creative, and I really think a lot of my clients are creative, but I really think that as a creative person, it actually helps you in business. It helps you grow a business if you know how to channel that and that those skills are transferable. So I want to hear from you. How do you think your creativity helps you actually grow your business?
The creativity is it's one of the thing where I also don't like mundanity and when it starts to be a little boring. So I'm like always trying to either improve the act or find different ways of doing things just because I don't like to be bored in a way, right? I need to offer something that's different. So there is the business aspect of it is working towards trying to offer something that's different from any other dude with a guitar. But there is a natural need for me to try and reinvent myself or improve. And it's through different things. The first thing is like with the technology, whether it's like guitar effects or work on the sound of the act. And then one of the main thing that I do is I have a list. Now we are all electronic on tablets. So I have a list that people can access through a QR code. And they can request songs the night of on the spot. I get a notification on my tablet, and then I can actually perform those songs in order that I'm receiving them.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's great for me because first of all, I don't have to think about the next song I'm going to play. I'm playing actually entertaining people directly without trying to have to think, hey, what is this person going to like? I actually know that people requesting songs are the ones that they want to hear. Another thing that I do. And the third thing that you've mentioned is I'm also working on a duo. So it takes me out of being the main sort of performer I still get to be there, but it's in a very different format where I'm not, let's say, the front person, and it's allowing me to develop some more skills in a way. So that's been great in terms of the creativity is definitely helping with evolving and
Yeah.
growing as an artist. Yeah.
So then let's talk about, again, growth of your business, because you are running it on the side in a way. You have a
Yeah.
full-time job. We have busy lives just as a family, right? We're a
Yeah.
blended family, 4 kids and different ages. And of course, they're growing now. But when you started, our youngest one was still 6 years ago, that would have been a four, four. So
Yeah.
different stages. So how were you able to do it while still doing workouts and taking care of yourself, and us finding time as a couple whenever we can and still supporting the family? How were you able to do it? Because I'm sure there's a
Yeah.
lot of people who are thinking like, oh, I would love to turn my passion into some sort of business and side hustle, but I'm busy. I don't have time. So what is your advice on that?
If you really want, you'll find time for what you love to do. I think it was 2017. So Jacob was really not even 3 yet when I started
Yeah.
performing. He was like 2.5. The first thing is it doesn't happen overnight. So it's really baby steps, coming back to the kids. One step at a time. Don't try to bite more than you can chew. It was one practice a week and then 1 gig a month. I think building that progressively is also a great way to build a strong foundation, whatever you're going to do. Doesn't matter, I think, whatever business you're in. But in my case, it really allowed me like to build the confidence, build the skills. I've improved quite a lot over the years, obviously, performing more and gain confidence, added many songs to the set list and so on and so forth. Finding time, then I think one of the main thing is you are supporting me also and allowing me to do what I love. There's a balance there too, right? The support is incredible. You're my number one fan, but even without you being a fan of my music necessarily, I know that you would have my backs letting me go out to perform.
Yeah, and we'll go back to it because I think it's very important, even you supporting me in my business. So we'll park that and we'll
Okay.
talk about it in a second. But
Yeah.
then one last thing I want to ask you is about staying focused, because you're creative. You do
Yeah.
have a ton of ideas, and music is not even the only art form that you could do. You love sculpting and
Yes.
drawing. We have some of your drawings on our walls in the house. So there is even in projects like the furniture right behind you is something you've created, you've done,
Oh
right?
yeah. Yeah.
Like you did it. So there's a lot you can do. So how do you stay focused and really prioritize while, living a pretty full life with
Okay.
our family and work and everything?
Yeah. I think there was a moment definitely where I had to choose between all those different projects, passions, hobbies that I have, even though they're still floating around in my head. There's they're prior they're priorities. And the thing is, the choice that I made is okay, with songwriting, with performing, with the music, this is the hobby that checks most boxes for me. Performance being one, but also the creativity of writing songs, creativity with the covers too. They're not exactly what's being played on the CDs. I had to make a choice and can leave things aside and actually focus on what is the most important. And building that business was also the most important for me. It was not just going in the basement and playing the guitar just to have fun. It was like I wanted to have something that's is really me, and it's I'm a musician, I'm an artist, and I needed that to be more important than, let's say, my day job in my life, or at least as important, not this
Yeah.
thing that I do on the side of the desk. We talked about it earlier, like I also need a full schedule to stay focused. If like with being busy at work during the day, having gigs to prepare for, and obviously our family life,
Mhm.
I'm actually probably the best version of myself, or the most efficient, if I'm back to the wall type of full busy. I don't like to use busy schedule because that doesn't necessarily mean that you're really busy, but let's say a full schedule with like from week to week. And If I don't have that, my mind starts to wander and I want to go in the garage and start painting stuff and sculpting wood and collecting rocks and sticks.
Yeah. And the one thing that you said here that I want to just point everybody's attention to, because it's something I coach my clients very often, is that when you place importance on something, it doesn't mean that you have to spend the same amount of time as on other important things. Because sometimes we think that the amount of time we spend on something determines its importance, right? But I can have my music business important and my job important and my family life important. That means that I just prioritize them and I'm equally committed. But
Yeah,
how the amount of time that I allocate to each of those things day to day or week to week can change.
absolutely. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
on the weekend, most time goes to family and performing, right? During the week, most time goes to work, but there's still certain parts of the day when you spend either working out or with family or helping kids or
Yeah.
us spending time together or performing, because you're treating those things equally important.
Yeah.
And I find it very important for people to understand the difference, because sometimes we think, oh, I don't have time because in my mind, I need to allocate the same amount of time to my, let's say, side hustle that I would to my work. Otherwise, it's not
Yeah.
important, or
Important.
I don't treat it like important. Where it's like
Yeah.
separating that, I think helps.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so let's move on to relationships. And I do want to talk about our relationship because I do think it's very special. And we really never talk about it. Even I don't talk about it that much in my social media. I wouldn't have been in my business where I am without your support, without you having my back. And I also know that's not as common, right? I have clients who don't always have that support around from the people closest to them. And through coaching, I help them through it. So
Yeah.
you having my back is that additional benefit or advantage that I have that not everybody has. So, what do you think makes our relationship so special?
First of all, that we have each other's back, that's for sure. And then we're respectful of each other's passions and business in that case. But I know that your coaching business is also a passion. Right? It's not. It's very. But I can't really explain how special it is without going back a few years, where in a way, I've known you as a manager my whole life. As long as I've known
Mhm.
you,
Mhm.
you've been in a managing position, coaching people, and
Mhm.
I've experienced your coaching firsthand when I was an employee back in the day. I think this relationship is built on the fact that you have a proven track record of delivering on your promises, or how do they say that? Walk the talk.
Yeah.
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 The thing is, it's the consistency of doing what you say you're going to do. And with that, over years, whether we were in a couple or not, this comes to the fact that building trust. So if you're telling me I'm going to study to do an MBA starting tomorrow, I'm going to be, yeah, go for it. 100% trust in the fact that not only
Mhm.
that you're going to succeed, right? That you're going to do it and succeed. And the same with whatever you've undertaken and your business journey. You're proving it like every day, anyways, that you're successful, right? Trusting that you're doing the right thing. And I see you working hard and that you deserve every success. Then, on the other hand, in terms of how we operate together, like we're lucky. I'm very grateful that most of the time, we don't have to talk necessarily, right?
Mhm.
But we
Mhm.
also do communicate a lot because even though we get along, we know where each other is going. It's very important for us to communicate on a daily of what's the plan.
Yes.
So we don't drift away thinking, oh, of course she's with me on this. And you turn around as you're actually going in different direction. So you got to keep together. And the thing is, if I put a bit of an image around this, is I still need to tell you where I'm going and you still need to tell me where you're going. So we're on the same road together.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that if I'm telling you, oh, I'm going there for a bit, you'll say, yeah, just go there. And then the roads goes a bit out and then I'm coming back. And then it's the same for you. It's really through the clear communication, really, I
Yeah.
think.
And I agree with it. I think that of course, we have shared values, right? In terms of the foundational things, in terms of parenting, or even like how we want to live life and what's important to us, right? So, which that
Yeah.
helps us. And even though we definitely know or can sometimes finish each other's sentences, right? Like a very aligned, even though our kids don't like it. They can go to mommy and get one thing and daddy and get something else. That
Yeah.
doesn't happen. But as you say, we still communicate because we don't expect they to just read each other's mind, right? Yes, it happens occasionally, but we don't expect it. And I think that, yeah, you're right. It helps us staying aligned and even keep up with things. We often joke, like even with your gigs, right? Sometimes I'm like, between our kids' extracurricular activities and
Uh-huh.
dance and things, and each of us manages a portion of it. You do the school stuff, I do the dance stuff, or like extracurricular stuff. There's so much going on that it's like, I can't remember your schedule. I
Yeah.
barely remember my schedule. I live by my calendar. Journal. So like even if you tell me a week ago whatever gigs you have, I don't remember. So I
Uh-huh.
ask you sometimes multiple times, okay, like where are you going and so on.
Yeah.
That's because that's the way it is, and that's okay because
Yeah.
we have that open communication.
I think we don't take it for granted either, right?
Yeah, I think so. So I want to ask you, just going back to you supporting me as an entrepreneur. And you know that because you do have the music business. So you know sometimes it can be an emotional journey up and down. One day you're like, yeah, I'm winning, all is great. The other day, it's, oh my God, nothing is working and it sucks. And so I guess my question is, what does it take on your end to support an entrepreneur, even if you see like ups and downs, and still believe in me, even on those days where maybe I don't believe in myself? I do on the days when I'm like, yeah, everything is working. I've
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
this.
You see me thinking right now? Because those days, that's my coaching to you, Maggie. You got to share, like, because it's very like unless it's really like a tough day for you, you keep a lot in and manage a lot of those challenges by yourself. So my coaching to you is share more of the small challenges, but at the same time, it's really being available. I think being available for you to share and
Yeah.
talk through the challenges that you experience. It's just being open to it. I
Yeah.
just,
And what I'm going to add, when I do share, and I do admit I don't share a lot, and I'll talk about it in a second, but that's on me. But first of all, I do know that you're available. And also, I know that when I do share, you don't judge, because I think sometimes we're scared to share because we're going to share and then we will get judgments and opinions and what we're doing wrong and what we should.
yeah,
And that not necessarily what you want to hear when you're when alone and all you want
yeah,
is like an arm to cry on and pat on the back. You've got this. Fine. I think that safety, I think it's important.
for sure.
Now, you're right. That's something that I need to work on. I've been raised to just do it everything by myself. Now, I also, as a coach, I have tools that help me work through things
Yeah, yeah,
and more quickly. I could turn around my mood or whatever in 15 minutes with the
yeah,
tools
yeah.
I have. Sometimes it's just, okay, I do it and I'm good.
I witnessed that. I know that. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I'm
And so I know, but yeah, that's definitely something that I took out from, I guess, childhood, to just be sufficient and independent. And it's my growth, even for a relationship, for a relationship to be better. I take your coach.
but we were walking the other day and we were also saying that we're not stopping in terms of our journey, like self-development
Yeah.
journey, reading, even the conversation that we have is just from sharing experiences, sharing little things that we've experienced together or that you're experienced on your side. And it's kind of this sharing of information. It's really important.
Yeah. And one last thing, what I would say to that is that we've also created like certain habits that make it easy for us. For example, our walks, right? I
Yeah.
remember that before we really started our like midday conversations, right? It was that like it was chaos. We just couldn't keep up with the things. And that was at the time when we both just worked corporate jobs, but in
Yeah.
different places, and the kids were young and there was so much going on that I
That's
think
true.
it was even your idea where you said, okay, we need to figure out a way to communicate a little bit during the day when we don't have kids around us
Yeah.
being
Thanks for
tired.
thanks for giving me credit. I think it was my idea, but
No,
okay.
I think it was, but one of us. And we started those calls, right, during our lunches. And then when COVID happened, we started working together at home and we turned that into our walks every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep that, right? And I think that's such a great habit where we can just have a light conversation and joke about it, but we also go into deeper conversations during those walks.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And it's amazing.
I love them too. Creating those systems and habits that allow you to have it, right? Like that's a huge help in
Yeah.
relationship, the way we have, or even improving it as we go. Okay. So then let's move quickly to last part, parenting. As I
Okay.
said, we're a blended family. So we have two boys from your first marriage that are now 19 and 17, big two men that are taller than me. I can't believe it. And then
Sure.
we have two kids together,
Yeah.
right? 13-year-old girl and a 10-year-old boy right now. And I've always admired the relationship you have with each and every one of them. And because again, even though we're busy, even though, the boys don't live with us, they live close, but they don't live with us. We have four kids to manage. You still develop a special relationship with each and every one of them. And each and every one of them is different, right? Different
Yeah.
personalities, different ages, and different needs. My question to you is, how do you do that? How do you build that special relationship with our kids?
Oh my God. I don't know how to do that without thinking. I don't, yeah, they're definitely very different, all of them. I think, first of all, I think I'm consistent in the way that I am with all of them.
Mhm.
They don't get like a hot and cold depending on the day.
Mhm.
I'd like to think they know me well, all of them, that they'll know they know how to push my buttons.
Oh, they
I think I'm also, again, it's a question of remaining available. So consistency in the way I'm with them, but also available for whatever they need, really. So their needs are different. They're all very affectionate towards both of us. Like it's pretty tight, but and we all love hugs. So giving affection or stealing affection from them.
once they get older, you're gonna steal it.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's, again, to summarize, I would say consistency in the way I am with them and my availability to try and fill whatever the need depending on where they're at in their
Mhm.
life.
I think what also is a big thing for you and like the relationship they have with you is you being you and not being scared of showing them the different sides of you, not you just as a dad who is
Yeah.
responsible to raise them as human beings. So sometimes you gotta say no and discipline and what we all do as parents, but also you showing them silly JF and the musician and the artist, all sides of you where you're not trying to be, oh, I just have to show this part of my
Yeah.
personality as a parent to my kids. And then they don't know you. And maybe that comes because I remember you telling me about your dad, like you wish you knew him a bit better from that
Yeah.
side. And I think you consciously show yourself as fully as a human being as you can,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think that allows each child to connect with the part that resonates with them the most.
Yeah, it's true. Like I don't think I'm hiding much with the kids. Yeah, it's true. I don't feel like I know my dad, but it's a generation
It
thing. I
is.
think
It
like
is. For sure.
the parents back my generation, your generation too.
But then
Uh,
on us, it becomes because sometimes we just acquire the ways we were raised and we
yeah.
pass it on, right, to our children. if we're not conscious about it. If I
Yeah.
think about Sam, like he connects with you with your athleticism, right? Sam is so athletic, right? And you
Yeah.
were like, you still are, but you were like that. And then the guitar as well with
Yeah.
Joe lately. It changes it. But it was maybe Lego, like with Jacob, or creativity and drawing with Sophie.
Yeah.
So like it's performing, it's goofiness, it's silly.
Yeah.
Silly comes with all of them. But there are certain things that are very unique to each and every one of them that they can
Yeah.
connect with you because you open up. Before we finish, I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I convinced you.
Congratulations on your 200th episode.
Yes.
That's showing consistency.
Tell everybody about your 2 albums because when you perform, you do a lot of covers, but of course, you create your original music and songs. So tell everybody about your 2 albums and then where they're available, how they can connect with you.
Okay. So there's music on all streaming platforms, and on the streaming platforms under the Rockin' Krolik, Krolik, and YouTube as well. So there's 2 albums and a few singles there. Yeah. Stream them out loud.
And then we will put the social media links website in the show notes.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks everybody for watching.
See you soon.